Psalm 74, verses 1 through 11.
It must have been a difficult thing for the Jewish people to watch their city and their temple destroyed by the Babylonians. No wonder Asaph wrote in Psalm 74, O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why does thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Well, let's keep in mind that this was happening because the people had sinned. Oh, they had their great city of Jerusalem. They had their beautiful temple in the city of Jerusalem. And they were trusting the city and trusting the temple, but they were not obeying the Lord. The problem was that in their sin they had defiled the temple. Jeremiah said they'd turned it into a den of thieves. And God would not permit this. And so God allowed the Babylonians to come and destroy the city and destroy the temple. When you read Psalm 74, you feel the heartbreak of Asaph as he writes these words. By the way, the enemy is destroying God's work today. There are people who are famous, like verse 5, according as he has lifted up axes upon the thick trees. There are those who are destroying God's work today, and they're famous for it. In fact, they're even praised for it. Well, what can God's people do? Well, notice, please, what he says about God's people. In verse 1, we are the sheep of his pasture. That's true, isn't it? He's the good shepherd, and he has given his life for the sheep. We are his sheep. What defense do sheep have against a Babylonian army? But God is our shepherd. We're the sheep of his pasture. Notice we are his congregation, verse 2. Remember thy congregation, a purchased congregation, which thou hast purchased of old. The rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, a purchased people and a redeemed people. This Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt, a people with whom God has been living. Well, Jerusalem was destroyed and the temple was destroyed, but God had even greater things in store. One day Jesus came and he revealed the glory of God, and now he's building a new temple, his church, and that can never be destroyed. Let's rejoice that God is our God of old, and he never fails.